Peculiar Pandemonium, otherwise known as Memes 4, was organized by Moonlight MvM and hosted by Pineapple.TF, releasing on March 31st of 2022 and ending on April 11th. The charity they supported was the National Breast Cancer Foundation of Australia, and that means we'll be using Australian dollars as the currency. The charity had a goal of 1,000 Australian dollars to meet, and by the end, raised a grand total of 70,275 Australian dollars and 69 cents, which with the exchange rate around that time was around 52,327 to 28 US dollars, give or take. That value alone is absolutely groundbreaking to think about, since on average, community MvM would only raise around $20,000 to $30,000 for donations. It was only until Bolted Barbecue of this year that they would manage to reach around 51,000, and that was just over the course of 3 months. Meanwhile, Peculiar Pandemonium's charity drive ran for the entire month of April, and they still earned more. And this trend kept going for the subsequent meme event that would raise around the same amount, which all goes to show that meme events are basically the equivalent of infinite money glitches for charities. Just like how it was with the development of Memes 2, there was not much to Memes 4, and it was pretty much business as usual. Privatized submissions made by a select few people over months of work. And I say that as Rafmod continues to be used alongside Community MvM onwards. However, for many reasons, this will be a very long issue to cover as there is a lot to unpack from the missions they made for this event. With it also being continuously expanded upon past Memes 3 and mainland operations like Digital Directive and Hexadecimal Horrors for that matter, the source mod tool would see brand new features being shitposted shamelessly in more innovative ways. The biggest thing to note was the introduction of cutscenes. The controls are directly taken away from the player, and every player was forced to view through a camera that pans to a scene where the characters or objects on screen act. For a brand new feature, it wasn't used quite a lot, but I say that as a good thing because it was primarily reserved for very special moments like cinematics and such. It was also relatively exclusive to memes as there were barely any standard missions that ever used cutscenes, and if there were any beyond Memes 4, I don't know exactly how many there were besides Trespasser Remaster. The second big thing to note was the use of overlays. In specific segments, the mission would put an overlay on screen, which in every single case was an image plastered on screen, whether it be a JPEG or an animated GIF on screen. Although for a majority of the missions, they would utilize black bars on the top and bottom to mimic a sort of cinematic movie. Then there was an update to the system that changes various items and weaponry, with the brand new addition of item replacements. It is, to be honest, not a well-designed system as you have to own the base item in order to use the custom weapon it was assigned to, and they didn't quite figure out how to add custom weapons without replacing them until the next year. However, in many cases, most of the underutilized weapons fell victim to this system. Even still, it is all up to the mission maker's discretion. So if the weapon in question just so happened to be the one that you enjoyed, you basically had to deal with the one forced onto you. And then finally, the last thing, which is rather small but still important to mention, is that the music tracks in various missions are now fully capable of being faded in and out.
Quickly find an upgrade station.
Although this unfortunately doesn't apply to all missions here, as there are a few that don't fade out their music tracks, but regardless, there are definitely more missions taking advantage of the fact, featuring many music tracks on the waves and going as far as accrediting them in the chat box. Now for the content that is within Memes 4. To start, the entertainment was pretty much presented the same way as Memes 3. The most overused meme of the year was the Moai meme. This was basically the representation of the 21st century humor. The missions for the most part have supplemented the meme with several vine boom sounds, as well as the throat singing sound, although the former was definitely the one creators used a lot. Some of the other memes around this time include the troll face and its variations, Five Nights at Freddy's, the return of the Sonic fandom series by Snapcube, Yakuza 0, based, and Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, also based. There was one noteworthy meme that they tried though, which was the use of 15.ai. This was and still is an AI tool used to generate text-to-speech using voices of characters from popular media. In Memes 4, there were only 2 missions that ever utilized AI voices, and whenever they did, they would credit 15.ai in the chat box much like with music, so that Moonlight doesn't get sued or whatever. As the years have gone by though, AI tools did certainly get more notoriety, especially with the artworks being shitted out. However, I will say that back then, it was rather funny to listen to a character with AI text-to-speech singing over a popular song or saying some stupid bullshit. At least that's what the internet thought back then. However, as frequent as the vine booms and the Moai faces you encounter are, they are surprisingly not what is most commonplace within Memes 4. What you'll actually see the most throughout is a trope, and it's called Deus Ex Machina. What that is that whenever there's a situation happening that becomes completely and utterly hopeless for the characters, in this case you in particular, someone or something unexpected and usually was irrelevant to the plot until now, steps in and saves the day. Now, this trope isn't bad in most cases. In particular with memes 4, it can be quite funny as the savior in question can be truly unexpected in a way that you wouldn't really mind the trope. What is bad here though is that a majority of the missions end with Deus Ex Machinas. In memes 4, you'll usually have a boss fight that at some point triggers your damage immunity. This is done in multiple ways, by it kicking in at certain health thresholds, having a billion points of health such that you're barely scratching it, having straight up full immunity from the start, or having high amounts of health regeneration such that your team's DPS barely keeps up with it. Either way, the fight is intentionally designed in a way that you cannot physically win. What happens eventually is that the mission will send in the support bot on your side that will chase after the boss, fully penetrate past their invincibility and killing them in the process. Granted, this is actually a new kind of segment for the meme series as a whole, and like with many operations, anything that was relatively new does get used quite a lot, and at the very least, a few other meme missions have done Deus Ex Machinas in their own way. However, since the trope in memes 4 were used a lot specifically for ending the missions off, this does lead to the overall experience of the event being rather predictable. This trope was also part of the very weird and odd design direction we introduced with memes 4, where Moonlight was attempting to integrate lore into the series for the sake of continuity. For example, there is a mission where they kill off all the soon-to-be irrelevant memes like Trollface, Among Us, and the Moai statue, and with us would never return in future meme events ever again. Then there's the overall plot of memes 4, which is basically you're playing through the operation to earn medals as everybody does, and then the gods or some bullshit are trying to steal the medals from you for the powers they wield, and then you collaborate with several narrators from various missions to stop them. It is as simple as that, and yes, it is indeed very fucking weird. Because the event leaned more into the idea of having plot elements, much of the missions tended to be quite dialogue heavy, and throughout the gameplay, you have to be reading a lot to understand what's going on, which 99% of the time ends up not mattering much at all, as the overall plot never becomes relevant until the last wave or so. It also doesn't help that you can just do the content in any order, so the missions do repeat the same story beats over and over. But despite all that, I'd say the event was overall a net positive. When you look at the things memes 4 push forward from the objective standpoint, you know, there's plenty more unique gameplay segments this time around, and much of the tried and true wave designs have seen big improvements. And have you ever seen a charity drive raise that high within a single month? Anyway, the one last albeit important thing to mention for the series was that memes 4 introduced a brand new mission type called Mega Collab Mission, where several creators would come together to work on one specific mission, with one person working on one or two waves. This particular style of mission would become a recurring thing for the meme series onwards, and in relevance to memes 4 at least, the Mega Collab Mission was intended as the last stop of the tour, as it references all the other missions prior, and the overall plot would see its conclusion. Regarding the whole tour itself, it featured 8 missions this time, spanning across 7 maps, although 7 out of 8 missions were of intermediate difficulty, while one of them was an advanced mission. This tour also featured 4 medals to collect this time, the 3 of which are only available to donators. For donating $6 Australian, you can get the luxurious Lepidolite. 20 Australian dollars will also earn you the Mesmerizing Morganite, and donating 33 Australian dollars will also earn you the Pink Diamond. For everybody else, the 4th medal was the Tungsten Robot of Leaded Lunacy. This particular medal was unique in a few ways. For one, in order to get it, you had to complete all of the intermediate missions, which there were like 7 of them, and for some reason they decided to exclude the advanced mission from the completion requirements. Another weird thing was that they intentionally put Easter eggs in the title and description of the medal. If you take every first letter of the title besides Genuine Peculiar Pandemonium, the letters would spell out Troll, and if you take every capitalized letter of the first sentence in the description, it spells out Never Gonna. I'm not sure why Moonlight decided to be a little quirky like that, but yeah. So then that covers what memes 4 generally had going on. A surprisingly lengthy summary for a chapter that essentially maintained the status quo. And speaking of summary, the rest of the video will be summarizing all of the meme missions featured. So I hope you'll enjoy what memes 4 had to offer back in 2022. Freedom Park is an 8-wave mission where the players have the power levels boosted significantly. The upsides of weapons and items are doubled, and the downsides are halved. The mission also doubles the values and upgrades, so you can get pretty crazy with some of the boosted weapons. Wave 1, we are introduced to the captain, who introduces us to the soon-to-be Freedom Park. For this wave, they have us seeking out and killing faulty blast soldiers all around the map. The first batch you shoot down are rather normal, while the next batch have phantom versions of themselves that spawn upon their death. At some point, the creator of these bots come out, who is the Chief Blast Soldier, and they have taken offense to us destroying their acolytes. This soldier is backed up with clones of themselves as it carries a bomb, however they are all invincible as you barely do any damage. They essentially act as a timer for the wave as you still have to find the last few blast soldiers around the map to beat the wave. Wave 2, the captain has seen our worth and showcases more of what Freedom Park will be. For Wave 2, we have several voice clips from Vark Skeletor Joe playing throughout. After killing several robots, you'll get a small tank with a rather mean look to it. It is called the Gutfucker 666. Then you'll be greeted by the Holy Taco, who will support you against Mr. Kill, a heavy shooting explosives with their minigun. Wave 3 has voice clips from JonTron playing throughout. Then we got a tap dancing crab demon, slowly but surely coming out while Kazasi kicking. Next we have Widowmaker engineers squatting with giant Nerf Flector heavies, of which shoot out Nerf darts as projectiles. Then we have Jonathan Tronathan himself coming out, running at us while being upset. The captain remarks of their demise and being sure that nothing spooky will happen until something spooky does happen as a hyperspeed skeleton comes out and melees players. Fourth wave is a copy of Bone Shaker Wave 4 because apparently this wave is a work in progress according to the captain. It is the same wave copy and pasted over, the only difference here is that the tank is actually a samurai soldier coming out from Maine and is called Jetstream Sam. He's got the signature look and everything including their music track but is rather slow. After you beat this wave however, the mission will skip over waves 5 and 6 and jump straight into wave 7. And the captain notices this and works something out in the background and sends someone over to support you for wave 7, of which is a Serious Sam segment. We got several robots cosplaying as the various mobs from the game. The guy that supports you is this default shotgun heavy who is named Dante Jensen. They spout a bunch of one-liners over the course of the wave and there's quite a lot of them. So enjoy a brief moment of silence for anybody that wants to pause and laugh at some of these lines or something. Wave 8, the final wave of the mission, has the Chief Blast soldiers from before make a return for one last fight. They will eventually be supported by several robots alongside them. When they reach about a quarter of their health, their damage immunity kicks in. As the Chief exits out of the cave, you'll eventually be saved by the Savior, who is a punching heavy representing the Joe Biden meme. Terminal Stupidity is a 7-way mission featured on Fast Town, which is an edited version of Ghost Town, with the major differences having the interiors be severely darkened for the most part. The mission also has a few weapons here being changed significantly, as well as a spy's knife being blacklisted. For most of the waves, there will be robots that appear at the start in the middle of the front to drop the bomb off, and each starting subwave has different types of bots that all die naturally in some way. You will also be doing quite a lot of reading in the chat box, as the annotations will constantly tell you throughout. Wave 1 has robots of uncanny varieties, those being punchies flexing their muscles with their voices broadcasted over the radio, trolling pyros that walk slowly and air blast, as well as giant burst fire demos firing grenades with inverse gravity. At some point you'll get the tank of the wave that grows in size and crushes players at the front. Later on you'll have soldiers firing rockets with gravity, as well as a giant homing soldier that fires rockets that stop mid-air and looks at you for several seconds before flying onwards. Before the wave ends, you'll have an invincible engineer named the Bearer of the Curse, who will just run in and stand at a specific spot while an ominous stinger plays.
Wave completed.
Wave 2 is a giant grind fest. However, you will be greeted by God himself that will send someone over to support you. However, instead of their bravest angel, they send in a homeless man they found on the streets. They are an A-posing muscle heavy named Brutal and will go absolutely ham on the bots, moving at hyper speed, zipping across the front and one-shotting everything. At certain points, they will Kazasi kick at a faster rate. Later on, you'll have the main lineup of chiefs coming out that can actually kill you and also move at hyper speeds. When you respawn and go outside, you'll witness the Titan version of Brutal himself protecting the hatch and also saving the day. On wave 3, there is a wall of text explaining that a button was pressed that gives your team full damage immunity at the cost of a very small and slow Captain Punch that will chase your team forever. These Captain Punches will spawn all around the map and will instantly kill anyone it touches, but are also very small and slow. This is essentially a timed segment where you have to kill all the boss before the swarm of Captain Punches comes, but even after effect, it is still a rather piss easy wave because they also move very slowly. Wave 4, despite the wave bar, starts with swarms of human classes walking out and taunting. Then there's a Titan robot heavy that's invincible but taunts with a bumper car and sits there for the rest of the wave. Then an absolute leviathan of an A-posing heavy rises up from the horizon and comes crashing down over the map.
No.
Wait, is he falling down?
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
No! Run away!
Afterwards, a Titan Heavy cosplaying as a Clash Royale king spawns in and laughs at you as it brings a nuke flashing the map, before being saved by the gigantic Moai head, and has 8 posing heavies around the skybox watching the entire map for the next wave. Wave 5 is where God returns to give us a wave from Quarry, an intermediate feature on Cold Town, as it plays classical music throughout. However, at some point the mission powers down as the map darkens and becomes encircled in black fog, fully revealing its FNAF reference as Freddy Fazbear himself is cosplayed by a Punchy moving at hyper speeds and insta-killing you. It is invincible, meaning it is a timed segment while classical music still plays. Wave 6 is a boss wave. We are greeted by someone arriving from a different dimension through a portal and dances for a bit. They reveal themselves as Goro Majima from the Yakuza series, with their title card added on the fact that they're probably wanted dead or alive in 7 different countries. Majima in this fight has 2 phases, though in essence the boss is a charging Demo Knight. There will occasionally be slow walking supports that are dubbed Majima Family Goon. On phase 2 he casts 3 shadow clones of himself, of which are his separate fighting styles. Those are Thug Shadow Majima, Slugger Shadow Majima, and Breaker Shadow Majima that will at some point taunt during the fight. Now this is something I found out of curiosity when inspecting the POF file, and I'm probably the second person ever to find this out, but this mission has 2 secret segments pertaining to this wave and the subsequent wave that both play out similarly. If you somehow manage to not kill Majima before his boss music ends, a character from the same universe would teleport in on your side and instantly kill them.
Hey, Kiryu, do you know Cam?
Wave 7, the final wave, will have engineers stacked on one spot doing the Rancho Relaxo, transforming into a chief engineer firing various energy projectiles, being referred to as the final boss. However, it is far from over as the engineer slowly dies, revealing the actual final boss, being Shitstorm. They are a chief heavy that uses a wide variety of explosive weapons, with unpredictable movement as it changes speeds throughout. During the fight, there is a robot heavy in the background with opposing heavies orbiting around its head. This fight is unfortunately bugged from the version I grabbed, where in its 2 subsequent phases it stands in the middle of the air unable to move. But essentially it attacks more frequently and utilizes a new move where it shakes the ground as pile of rocks scatter around and explode simultaneously. This finale also has a secret segment where after Shitstorm spawns in, you have to wait 5.25 minutes for their song to end. What happens next is that the narrator of Terminal Stupidity awkwardly remarks of you taking forever to kill the boss, so they force the boss to ride a bumper car around to make things easier. But it doesn't end there, as by waiting an additional minute after being pestered to kill the boss, the narrator will decide to step in and end the mission themselves. Somewhere in Nevada is a mission boasting the highest wave count of the entire event, being 12 waves in total. The map has been decorated with troll faces around the outskirts, as well as a massive Moai head on top of the hatch that constantly plays a meme sound that can be heard as far as the midpoint of the map. This mission changes many attributes of various weapons, the most noteworthy of which include the decal items that are all changed to have the troll face image. There were also a few weapons changed to slowly shoot out nukes, but they were all replaced with the SpongeBob model. There were also many item replacements of the mission as well, some of which include a shotgun and Glock for the Demo Man, and the Machina and Shooting Star being orbital strike cannons. As we begin the mission, we are introduced to 2 narrators. The one with golden text wants to make sure we have the assets downloaded for the full experience, while stepping back as the other with purple text will accompany us for the majority of the waves. First wave is Madness Combat, shooting various grunts that are A-posing and wielding various guns. You'll be supported by Honkar Wibbletom, an assassin looking dude who is a carbine sniper. At the end, someone is late to the party, revealed as Grunt Gaming. Killing them results in them getting grounded by their mother. Second wave mainly comprises of robots of several uncanny varieties, those including semi-visible scouts and Caber super scouts, heavies that rocket jump all around, and sticky jumper demos spinning around. At some point, the purple text character points out the new weapon changes, revealing themselves as the evil narrator, laughing maniacally as they were also responsible for the ones that were messed up. At the end of this wave, you have a heavy pretending to be a flying tank. Third wave has reality falling apart, that for this specific wave brings out SpongeBob. There is a quick message from them before it begins.
The Industrial Revolution and its consequences have been a disaster for the human race. They have greatly increased the life expectancy of those of us who live in advanced countries. But fuck you.
This wave has you fighting several fast-moving SpongeBobs of various sizes, playing a couple of randomized death noises, and at some point the hive mind will post your IP addresses in the chat. Near the end, you'll be swarmed by a bunch of mega SpongeBobs. Eventually, you'll have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson come in as the literal rock and saves the day. Fourth wave is Deep Rock Galactic. You'll have mission control announcing a swarm incoming as various mobs from the game are cosplayed by robots with bug heads. The evil narrator also promotes the game at some point. Eventually you'll have the Boke Detonator, who comes out as a loose cannon demo chief that self-destructs and killing anyone in the vicinity. You'll also be supported by the 4 classes of the game, those including Engineer, Scout, Gunner, and Driller. Although with every death, the Driller has a chance to roll the second variant, being the C4 user that throws explosive bombs that can also friendly fire. Fifth wave is Super Mario. Although it is a scuffed segment as the evil narrator was shot in the liver for including Nintendo assets, Chris Pratt from the Super Mario's movie is Mario and sits at the back line. Meanwhile, Ouija comes to the front and assists you by wrenching the Goombas. And The Rock also shows up as well at one point. What happens next is that a voice clip plays and Ouija throws a football, which both succeeds and fails a wave. However, the version I grabbed is broken and doesn't do the former. Sixth wave is Friday Night and has several human classes coming out and dancing to the track from Yakuza 0. Of course, some will try to be funny by grabbing the bomb, so you'll still have to kill them all. Before the wave ends, we're greeted by someone who was late to the party, a Sergeant Strikeout, whom the evil narrator refers to as Punjabi bootleg Machima looking ass MF. They are a slow-moving Sandman scout with 3 immunity phases, where in each one they do a dance move. Seventh wave has you off break and back on your job. You deal with the most idiotic creatures in existence, and the narrator remarks that they'll be on permanent copium once we're done dealing with them. This is very obviously referring to the wave comprising entirely of monkey NFTs as clown music plays over the course of the segment. Some unknown presence brings out their final NFT, who is the embodiment of the so-called monkey pyro as many players know and love. The unknown presence is depressed as it dies and will return later on. Eighth wave returns the Madness Combat bit, remarking about episode 8. It has Jesus coming out, who is not crucifixing around and cites the Bible too. Ninth wave, you feel a horrible headache due to the presence of Jesus from earlier. The wave bar has changed to be typical of a standard mission, but you will be swarmed by a massive group of punchies that are spawn protected, and the mission tells you that you forgot to take your schizo pills. They do linger for a bit after wave completion, and some of them do taunt kill, but eventually you can kill them off. 10th wave, the narrator remarks about how the missions tend to get a bit quirky during the waves, before the gameplay switches to a black fog and is an entire Slender Man segment. You gotta find 6 pages around the map while not getting caught by the various creatures. 11th wave is where we are on Madness Combat episode 11. You fight a character named Tricky, but it dies instantly, as the evil narrator trolled them when they fell for the Friday Night Funkin' bait and switch again. Before the wave ends, reality falls apart once again, where the world of TF2 fails to be maintained and the mission loads the first circle of hell. 12th wave, the final wave, has the character with the golden text return as the narrator. Not to be confused with the evil one. They state that our IP addresses posted earlier invited an intruder, shortly followed by the return of the NFT bro from wave 7 being King NFT, a Sergeant Crits variant that came here to destroy the world by buying NFTs, of which will do said thing once their purchase is recognized, all because it will be mad fucking funny. They will also do a lore drop for memes 4, where they will try and buy out all of the meme medals with 69 trillion quid. The boss regenerates a very high amount of health per second, enough to the point that it is effectively invincible. Eventually, the narrator, watching over the fight, gets tired of the whole endeavor and sends a counter troll. The counter troll in question is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself from the prior waves. The scene will then cut to the carrier tank exploding in the background. However, in the final moments, the narrator says that King NFT wasn't the intruder, as the actual one will appear within the next few seconds.
We win.
Bogos Binted is an 8-wave mission that is a sequel to Return to Monkey from the previous meme event. There are many changes to various weapons, and it is quite a long list of changes where even they themselves pointed out. As per the creator's signature, there are Apos and Gardevoir searching as merchants of the upgrade stations. And also as the creator's signature at this point, the mission starts every single wave off with a bot that increases in count as the mission goes on. This time we've got jumping Sandmans with very low health. Wave 1 sees the return of the Pickle Overseer, and as the joke died last year, they want us to help them out. They also somehow pissed off an Elder God, which is the Moai face. The Elder God sends out various Moai faces that shoot guns at you, and killing each one plays a vine boom sound. During the wave, you'll also have a tiny pyro supporting you named Foot Stinky. To cap the wave off are 2 Moai heads using miniguns. Wave 2, the Pickle Overseer congratulates us and warns of the vulgarity as we get deeper into the mission. The wave starts with this goofy ass tank, which is the baby convertible fully modeled to 3D. There are a couple of punching chimp champs throughout, and you'll also have a red soldier named Eugene tagging along. In order for the Pickle Overseers to shed their form, they must extract copium from us, which is it's supposed to be this tiny invincible dancing scout that spawns afterwards. They are named Cope Seethe Mauled, and they represent this icon on the wave bar. Trans rights indeed. At the end, you'll have the Pondering My Orb meme, split between the medic that is the Ponderer that doesn't do anything with his minigun, while the orb is this very tiny robot that you have to melee to damage. Wave 3, the Overseer has completely shed their pickle form and thanks us for the save, but also thinks it would be funny to type kill into console. We also see another character from a previous mission being the narrator that mocks them. You'll grind down several comments for a bit as you have several medics supporting you. Getting to an all demo man subwave where the alchemist demos shoot out explosive potions giving you various boosts, while the giants damage you with explosive spellbooks. The Overseer foreshadows the next segment as they bicker at the demos. There are 3 trios of super fan scouts walking very slowly together, followed by a boss fight against the Siren from Binding of Isaac. It shoots bison projectiles for the most part, but there is a certain attack move it does where it reprograms nearby medics onto their side and allows them to ubercharge the Siren. Wave 4 is Minecraft. The Overseer chants out a lyric from Welcome to My Mind as you fight several mobs of several varieties from Minecraft cosplayed by various robots. Steve and Alex will support you here as a pickaxe soldier and a bowman respectively. The Overseer hopes you route your diamond and armor and bow for the second portion, where it transitions over to the nether segment, fighting piglins, blazes, and wither skeletons while Pigset plays. Wave 5 is a reference to Everywhere at the End of Time. It is an album that portrays the progression of dementia and Alzheimer's, and the wave conveys this by having decaying robots, with their icons and names also on display. Even the Overseer shows signs of dementia where they repeat the same 2 phrases over and over. In this wave though, you do get a returning character that is just literally pants. Wave 6 is a rather standard one all things considered, although every robot plays a sound effect upon death, and most of them scream. But finally, you'll have the mission finally reference its title.
Hey, just wondering if you got your photos printed?
Bogos Binted?
What?
At the end are 2 bosses from Terraria Calamity, who are the twin eyeballs, those being the Retinazer and Spasmatasm. Both of them will transition to phase 2, where the former shoots out bison lasers and the latter will bite at you. Wave 7, the Overseer brings out a fan favorite to support you, that of which is Jerry. Much like Dante Jensen, they spew out a bunch of text over the course of the mission, while also referencing the guy himself. Also, this entire wave is pretty much Borderlands 2. You start by fighting bandits from the game, and then getting to the loader boss for the rest of the wave, that is eventually supplemented with Hyperion goons. 8th wave is the final wave, and after killing off 8 jumping Sandmans, you wait for a good while, as Dante Jensen joins the game. They ask Tyndall for when the medals arrive before renaming their shotgun and leaving the server, without a server message. To cap the mission off, we have a special guest arriving from a separate dimension, who shares the same style of speech as Spamton from Deltarune, comes out as a pants-swinging demo knight named Panton Cleo. They spout out a bunch of dialogue over the course of the fight, and they do eventually use a second weapon where they shoot explosive rockets at you. In retaliation, the Overseer brings out red support of many varieties, many of which are those that return from the prior waves and previous meme events. Eventually, Panton Cleo raises their defenses up to extremely high values, making them practically immune to all damage. Eventually, the Overseer brings in one last, albeit very risky favor as they put it, which is later revealed to be Dumpster Dave from Don't Act Dumb. Slowly but surely, they will walk over towards Panton Cleo, which they both know each other somehow, and eventually, Dumpster Dave will overload their beggars and kill both Panton Cleo and themselves. The mission closes out as the Overseer thanks you for your efforts and bids farewell. Cloudy with a Chance of Tanks is a 10-wave mission that predominantly features wave bars with randomly changed numbers. First wave, much like the wave bar itself, is nothing. The mission simply plays a voice clip after readying up.
F4, 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 why?
Second wave is where we see yet another mission that features a boss starting the waves out over and over again. This time we got fast moving eviction heavies called Gangstas, and they all have 690 health. This wave for the most part has soldiers barraging explosive rubber duckies at you, with one of them being an actual kernel barrage dropping from the sky with extremely low health. Third wave rains down man power-ups from the sky, all of which are regen power-ups, and unfortunately you have been trolled as the power-up is quite literally useless in MVM. There were giant soldiers shooting out camper vans from the sky while they themselves crater on impact. There's a bunch of scouts throughout, along with a singular samurai demo with the name tag Get Trolled. There's giant demos firing off books in bookcases. However, one thing to note is that there will be a recurring gag throughout where the tanks fall down from the sky in predictable locations. Fourth wave, you shoot down a flying camper van that zips all around the sky at fast speeds. It does circle between the middle and the back parts of the map for quite a bit, till it eventually settles down to the ground to allow you to freely shoot it. Fifth wave is where you kill 103 killer bee scouts and plenty of giant demos alongside. It also spouts out messages relating to bees over the course of the wave, with there also being a falling tanks joke after the first line. At the end, you'll have a certain Uxalot variant being the Queen Bee that caps off the wave. Sixth wave, you have drunk weight champs being demo bots cosplaying as regular punchies. There's also beggar soldiers dropping from the sky that overload their beggars and all die right after touching the ground. The last half will comprise of 69 mitten heavies and groups of big-headed broken scouts. Seventh wave, there was a chief blast soldier named Lord of Trolling. It insta-bursts its ruckus, causing various status effects. There were also shotgun heavy supports that gave you random effects with their pellets, and the two giant heavies at the end will speed boost you on hit. Eighth wave, you deal with the tank that leaves behind a blast vaccinator bubble for the rest of the mission. The wave overall insists upon being a normal wave, which it in fact is. The only caveat here is a giant scout support shooting you while A-posing with a minigun. Ninth wave is a parody of Bionic bits from Digital Directive, the wave in question being wave 6 but with several bots that differentiates itself from the actual experience. The wave airdrops in a giant death ball towards the end, however the bots here don't really do much and are all there to act menacingly. 10th wave is the final wave. After killing 9 gangstas, a purple vortex with a spinning troll face opens up from the sky. A mysterious voice calls us out for trespassing on the sacred land of Omega Punchies, and in order to save the world, they must annihilate us. A swarm of robots comes out, including the bomb-carrying giant heavy that's invincible. They stand around at a specific location for several seconds, which eventually has them getting crushed by the map's falling tanks. The wave parachutes in red support, which is an army of carbine snipers referred to as the military. And then out comes the Omega Punchy themselves, which is completely immune to damage from the start. As they slowly progress towards the midpoint of the map, a different Punchy comes out, this time on your side as the Ascended Punchy. And with their presence, the day is saved. Probably not a problem is a 9-wave mission featuring quite a number of changes to various weapons, as well as a few replacements like the frying pan changed to the golden variant that will make you hit yourself upon missing. The mission has decorated the map with various Easter eggs, those including rows of tiny dancing heavies at the upgrade station with a bomb merchant. Then the front upgrade station has a spinning opposing heavy as the merchant there. There is also a resupply cabinet at spawn that is a trap where upon touching it will instantly kill you. Wave 1 has robots of uncanny varieties. We've got vacuum cleaner heavies, pyros blasting flames onto themselves as they run forward, and shotgun heavies using minion fart guns. There will be robots airdropping in afterwards, those including whip soldiers named booty slappers, and giant demos that are booty shakers. There are also giant charge soldiers coming in shooting originals with high inverse gravity. To cap the wave off is the Punchy, the Lord of Gloves. This heavy periodically sends out a massive cluster of blue gloves exploding around itself, and at some point shooting out red explosive gloves from its legs. The mission flashes purple on screen after defeating them, indicating that a time ripple has been created and the timeline shifting around, while simultaneously having the same purple vortex high up in the sky earlier show up for the rest of the mission. Wave 2 is a time segment where you have to seek out 10 destructible targets around the map before the timer runs out, and that timer is represented by an engineer dancing on top of the hatch, referred to as the impending doom. Wave 3, you are teleported to spawn and locked inside until the wave starts. This wave sees the return of the survival mechanic where if everyone dies, it's game over. The time ripple has brought in returning characters. Those include Fandub Shadow and Rouge from Pisses on the Moon that fight alongside you. As you make it to the front, Fandub Eggman also makes a return, and the moment from the Sonic 06 Fandub plays.
Man, how did you get here?
How do you think I get here? I floated down on my giant battle bus.
Eggman then turns against you, and you fight against him and his robots, and killing him will end the wave. Wave 4 has 19 out of 87 on its wave count. The map powers down and has black fog encircling the map, while Freddy Fazbear chases you around the map as a fast-moving Punchy that one-shots you. The wave hints at the idea of turning the power back on, but you can only progress a wave by killing him. Wave 5, the survival mechanic is taken away, as the wave mainly comprises of rusty robots, which for the most part has downsides attached to them. The red support you'll have are these giant Oreo snipers that throw piss. At the end is a tank with a giant exhaust that drifts around. There is also a giant gas pyro on your side that chucks gas at it to increase its speed. Wave 6 has this wave bar full of sniper faces staring at you as the whole squad is rolling and tearing up in laughter. This wave, upon starting, will have 8 posing snipers orbiting around the map. This is another survival segment where you gotta kill off various 8 posing snipers. There's also these weird red supports that spawn in as well, being these giant bitch havers with their own separate medics. You'll also run through several sniper chiefs. The first is a basic cookery sniper with a name tag saying, "My P is red, help." The second will throw piss at you with a slowdown effect, referred to as "walk the piss board, bitch." The third grapples towards you, called the hidden piss man. The fourth is a red colored zombie with a head crab on its head, referred to as mutated piss demon. After killing them, the HUD vanishes as it slowly reveals a Titan red sniper with the Allfather and Cheeto's Lament looming over the front and putting the entire map in a piss jar. It then comes out as the last 8 posing sniper to fight, fighting against you as it shoots its SMG. Once killed, their name is revealed as "Taste My Golden Shower, bitch." Wave 7 has a small tank coming out and slowly but surely grows in size, crushing anybody in the vicinity before self-destructing. Afterwards is the lean meme. There are bots using purple tinted weapons, and the second tank that comes out is also purple. You'll have support alongside, comprising of flock pyros and quick fix medics to assist with the next subwave. Soon after, we got a massive tank moving at a snail's pace with high health, shortly before picking off unassuming players and bots with a tank with multiple saw blades on it drifting around the front. Next is a tank but with arms and legs, that is a punchy chasing after you. There is another red support spawning in, this time a giant heavy and medic combo with stretched body proportions. The wave then cuts to a scene where the Deathfucker 666 tank shows up, featuring sticky cannons on the sides, as well as a twin turret spinning on top firing off grenades. The mission then narrates that the last tank of the wave wouldn't be too hard to kill, till it then has it spawn in the skybox as a massive unkillable tank. As it deploys a bomb, this happens.
Oh man, we're cut.
Okay.
Happening right now.
Wave 8 has Eli Vance spawning in, and killing him has a narrator shaming you for killing them, as sad music plays and the player's character is forcefully jeering. After a while, you get a whole bunch of red blast soldiers spawning, which are timed as soon as the wave starts, meaning that if you just sit there with Eli for an entire minute, they will eventually spawn and kill Eli regardless. Wave 9, the final wave of the mission, has the scenery cut to the Vortex Troll, coming down from the sky above and greeting us. They have been ordered by the Sage to eliminate us, and are after the meme medals, of which seemingly hold priceless power to them, enough to destroy worlds as they say. They hold Canteen Crasher medals orbiting around themselves as they empower up as they commence trolling. The Vortex Troll has extremely overpowered attacks as their projectiles also one-shot you and also has gargantuan amounts of health. Although this mission conveniently offers a specific weapon that can inflict large amounts of fall damage, which can unfortunately ruin the entire segment once abused. As the fight seems unwinnable, a third party by the name of Manco calls in by sending in mercenaries to support. Eventually, chief robots will also drop in to assist us that are apparently not from Manco. Sergeant Crits comes in and beatboxes about broken parts wave 6. Major Crits also drops in as well, implying that Vortex Troll has encountered them before. A couple of big rock burst fires are called in by Sergeant Crits, and the last chief joining the fight is Major Bomber, as Captain Punch couldn't make it due to them being dead. Eventually the scene cuts to Troll taunting the players and gloating about how even God can't help you win, until a fifth party then shows up that is literally God himself. Vortex Troll gets very apprehensive over their presence as God proceeds to scold them and sends in someone to save the day. This time, it's John Freeman from Half-Life Full Life Consequences. Deez Nuts is a 9-wave mission that is a direct sequel to Circuit Board Torture from Mash Mediocrity. The mission is heavily cutscene based and uses a lot of overlays. The mission sees the return of Yucatan, and like many missions, it has been decorated with things such as stick figures with troll faces, with a few acting as merchants of the upgrade stations that spawn, and there is Kirby holding out a knife next to one of them. There were also Moai heads plastered on the top of the structures around the map as well. Wave 1 is a full-blown cutscene segment, introducing us to the Moai heads around the map and utilizing several memes Big Crush as overlays. Flashing the memes for title card, Circuit Board Torture 2 Deez Nuts edition, and a Rick roll at one point. Wave 2 is a survival segment, killing 89 human classes cosplaying as various characters from Smash Bros. At the end is a cutscene. A reenactment of the beginning of the Sonic Adventure 2 fandom plays out as a wooden tank barrier explodes in the distance. Eggman comes out with a proper 3D model on full display and plays a full Pisses on the Moon bit, where they will at one point shoot you with laser piss. Wave 3 has 1987 on the wave bar. The mission remarks that you feel funny before having an entire bumper car segment where you run over swarms of punches while avoiding the exploding troll busters. You start to hallucinate several crewmates from Among Us appearing as red pyros, then bringing out engineers chasing after you. Soon after, there is a single punchy being Freddy Fazbear that will jump scare you with an on-screen overlay. To cap the wave off is a tank from Left 4 Dead, only that it is completely textureless and is A-posing. The Survivors comes and saves us in the background by giving us some meds, allowing the hallucinations as well as the white text to fade away. Wave 4 marks the return of Pop-Off from Metroid Malice, as they send out an army of Pop-Off holograms, a couple of which wield comically large spoons. Eventually, a Death Wallet Chiefs would show up with very small health pools. Then afterwards, they summon their most powerful boss. The Moai head from out front becomes active and attacks players by shooting out explosive Pop-Off heads, inflicting piss on hits. Upon their defeat, Pop-Off comes out as a last-ditch effort and dies in one shot. The screen flashes white as the map returns to normal. Wave 5 is Among Us. The wave has you seeking out two robot spies being sussy imposters and friendly firing them amongst the human innocent fellas. There are also A-posing scouts moving quickly with a bomb and are all immune to sentry damage. And there is both a timer on the wave and a limit on how many innocents you can kill, which is like 30 of them. Wave 6 is a boss wave. Here, you will deal with a God Troll, who is a troll face carrying the bomb all the way towards the hatch. They fire off a barrage of homing troll face rockets that will kill you instantly, as well as all the red support that will also try and stop them along the way. As they approach the hatch, the map becomes surrounded with various troll faces all high up and above. God Trolls slows their pace down as they send out small-sized troll busters after players, and as they slowly near the hatch, something kills them in a rather anticlimactic fashion. Before debating the players by appearing as a tank to deploy onto the hatch, but squishy enough to be stopped in time. Wave 7, the last one of the mission, has the actual troll face greeting us, as the last one we fought before was their avatar. They have gained control of the map and is planning to use the underground missiles for world domination, and has us bearing witness to their power. Their speech is then interrupted by a third party, being Heavy TF2. They chain Troll down and drains them of their power. As the day has been saved for the 6th time at this point, the rest of the finale plays a 2-minute slideshow, with Heavy reading out an altered version of the Connection Terminated speech from Five Nights at Freddy's. I've subtitled the speech post-edit, but if you don't want to listen to the whole thing, you can skip on over to the final mission of Memes 4 with a timestamp on screen.
Connection terminated. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Trollface. If you still even remember that name, you are not here to receive a gift, nor have you been called here by the individual you will soon. Although you have indeed been called, you have now been called here into a tour of missions and maps, misdirection and misfortune, an event with no prize. You don't even realize that you are trapped. Your lust for means has driven you in endless circles, chasing the cries of predators always seeming so near and somehow out of reach. But you will never find them. None of you will. This is where your story ends. Until my brave red team, who somehow planned this mission not intended for you, although there was a way out planned for you. I have a feeling that's not what you want. I have a feeling that you want the medal. I am remaining as well. I am nearby. This place will not be remembered. And the memory of every shipment that started this can finally begin to fade away. As every big ship. Until ship means trapped in the corridors. Be still and give up your spirits. They don't belong to you, or most to you. I believe there is peace, and perhaps more waiting after the smoke clears. Although for one of you, the darkest pit has opened up to swallow you. So, don't keep the devil waiting, trudge. Trollface, if you can hear me, I knew you would return. It's in your nature to help other means. I'm sorry that on that day, the day you were turned into a shitty man, no one was there to help you the way you'll help others to be great means. And then Lord became with you. I should have known you would time to rest. For you and for those you have carried in your arms, this ends. For all of us in communication.
Advanced Adversaries is a 9-wave mission uniquely featured on Example, a map designed by Valve for testing missions. The mission credits the author as anonymous, however in reality it is a mega collab mission made by more than 3 creators, which I will now correctly list on screen. Although I don't know who exactly worked on which wave in specific, but hell yeah. First wave is a tutorial segment. Soothing music plays as the mission teaches us the basics of playing the game, though the messages do get a little unhinged and quicker as it goes on. It will eventually introduce us to a single soldier bot. Naturally, somebody or something will kill them, and the mission gets rather pissy about it. Now this wave uniquely has 2 scenarios that can play out. If you decide to ignore the tutorial and shoot down the same soldier bot 3 times, they have the patience finally run thin and sends in a hyper speed pyro that slaps you with an instant killing hot hand. It takes a while, but eventually the tutorial segment ends. If you decide to actually play along with the tutorial, the soldier bot becomes active after a 3-second countdown and can now be freely shot at. There will be a couple more groups coming from the drop downs on both sides. The mission then congratulates you for your efforts as you prepare for the next subwave coming up, which happens like this. After a while, Monsoon returns to the sky and starts casting several boulders spinning around them, before being briefly interrupted by a monstrous fucking heavy, intercepting their attack, and then slowly but surely, you and the heavy kill Monsoon. And thus ends the tutorial. Second wave introduces us to the Describer, and another narrator type fella who heavily insists that we should get out of here before something drops by the hatch, which is the potato meme medal, and the Horde has been alerted to their arrival. The Horde mainly comprises of humans with melee weapons parodying the people that constantly ask for medals. You'll be supported by potato farmers, comprising of shotgun engineers and bigger engineers with rakes. At some point out of nowhere, there will be Jake's car moving at fast speeds, and charging towards players to run them over. Towards the end, you fight the Evil Medal, which is a potato medal but with a blue umbrella and troll face on it. They fire off a volley of homing rockets around them that can deal quite a bit of damage. Third wave is MOG Gaming. There's a sniper coming out acting passively, and upon kill overlays the entire screen with various MOG related images for the rest of the wave. A group of Illuminati agents come out that will eventually switch over to your side to support you against the other MOG gamers that got pissy for being forgotten about. All the bots present have droppable weapons, which come with various upsides and downsides for every class. Fourth wave, we have another narrator type character coming in that is literally called Narrator. As per the empty wave bar, Narrator shuffles through their memes and presents them to us in a rather hesitant manner. First, a row of A-posing heavies with eerie music. Second, an actual Freddy Fazbear model. Third, the Moai head with several vine booms. Then the segment is interrupted with boss music as it cuts to a scene with an explosion, revealing a T-posing Senator Armstrong from Metal Gear Rising. In retaliation, Narrator spawns their favorite character, who is Raiden, also from Metal Gear Rising, and reenacts the iconic meme from that game. Of course, the segment is rather scuffed, so Narrator sends the players after Armstrong to kill him quickly, with their weapons massively boosted. After they die, Narrator gets depressed about the whole wave being broken and decides to skip on over to the next wave. Fifth wave has a plethora of custom bots, starting with a giant homing exploding gas pyro with vaccinator medics. Then you got a plethora of custom bots spawning in very low counts with various stat changes that still make them worthless to shoot at. Then out comes a tank dying in one shot, and a chief pyro coming out with pink hair, also dying in one shot. 6th wave is an entire Smash Bros. 4 reference, starting by fighting Master Hand and Crazy Hand as Sergeant Chris and Chief Blast Soldier respectively. They both die several seconds in and transitions over to the next segment where you fight against the Master Core, manifesting in various forms. Eventually you reach the Master Fortress segment where you seek out various weak points by shooting down Master Fortress hearts, spawning all around the map one after another. Finally, you reach the Master Core itself, and by shooting it down for a while, the screen flashes white and the wave is done. 7th wave, we are greeted by the narrator from somewhere in Nevada. They are apparently running away from godlike beings that they pissed off accidentally, whom of which are also after the meme medals. These godlike beings in question are the Council of Legs, and the leader notices our affiliation with the narrators they've been trying to kill off. And after seeing our combat prowess from the past waves, they send in the entire Council of Legs. In this fight, the leader occasionally shoots out homing pairs of explosive man-treads and is practically immune to all damage. In order to progress, the narrator tells us that we have to target the other pairs of legs. Once all 4 pairs of legs have been killed, both the narrator from somewhere in Nevada and the other narrator spawns in, which I'm not sure if it's the evil one or the one from wave 4. Either way, both narrators save the day, as they deal insane amounts of damage to the leader of legs. As a reward, the narrator of Nevada turns himself into a weapon, being the orbital strike cannon. However, before that though, they do this.
Number 7. Student watches porn and gets naked.
Eighth wave is a meme segment. We have Postal Dude coming out with a petition on hand.
Hi there. Geez, whoever designed this down was on serious crack. Fuck, I need to take a piss. I feel better already.
After a while, we are greeted by Duke Nukem out in the front with a chalkboard.
I've got a peer-reviewed study right here that says... says you're a pussy.
Duke Nukem initiates the fight by shooting everybody for about a minute, using various weapons more powerful than the last while also being immune to damage himself. After a while, Duke Nukem gets rudely interrupted as Postal Dude returns, circling around them and pestering about their petition.
Hi there, would you like to sign my petition?
Quit wasting my time.
Look, just sign the stupid petition. I've got stuff to do.
Sit down and shut up.
Fuck you, bitch. Shit, your mother.
Eat shit and die.
Yeah, that's what they all say.
Duke Nukem dies, but the wave keeps on going as a death rattle.
Another wave.
9th wave, the final wave of the mission and the operation for that matter, has someone warning us of a boss fight up ahead and boosts up our weapons. The describer from wave 2 returns and wishes you good luck as they cannot assist during a fight against the boss, that being a Titan heavy named Lord Badass. They use various weapons throughout the fight and are split across 3 phases. The second phase in particular has an immunity segment where you have to kill the supports before dropping down their Uber. On the last phase, Red Team becomes Ubered and demolishes both Lord Badass and a Chief Deflector that is spawned in. As they are bested by Red Team, Lord Badass says they will meet again, before dropping the axe and pondering about whether or not you'll look forward to the next meme event, and then proceeding to jump scare the players with swarms of cats and punches for a second. And with that is the end of Memes 4. Although the things it did are rather peculiar, I am glad for the pandemonium they caused. Please consider liking, subscribing if you enjoy the content. And I definitely didn't say that because the gods have a gun pointed at my head or anything. Anyway, like all things in life, they must all come to an end. But stay tuned, as we'll cover Operation Last Laugh, the 5th and final entry to the meme series. For now at least.